You have reached the real dirt. On today's episode of The Real Dirt, I speak to Socrates Rosenfeld of I Heart Jane. They're the next generation of online marketing of cannabis with real-time inventory. That means that you can search what your local dispensary has right now and go and get a sack. But it's a great conversation about entrepreneurship, business. He's a really enthusiastic dude, and I really appreciate him joining us. Hope you sit back and smoke a fat one and enjoy this episode of The Real Dirt. Download it at therealdirt.com or on iTunes, The Real Dirt Podcast. All right, once again, here we are. This is The Real Dirt with Chip Baker. Today, I have Socrates from I Heart Jane. Hey, how's it going, Socrates?
It's going great, man.
Oh, man, I'm glad to have you in here. Socrates is an entrepreneur and has developed one of the first online marketplaces for cannabis. And I'm going to call it the next generation of online marketplaces.
I like it.
Right?
I like it, man.
How you doing today, Socrates?
Doing great. Loving Denver, as always.
Yeah, Socrates is coming from one of my favorite places in the universe, Santa Cruz, California.
Surf City, USA.
Yeah, wow. The whole world wants to live in Santa Cruz, it seems, doesn't it?
It seems like that in the summer, that's for sure.
Right, the line of traffic on the weekends, holy hell, man.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful place.
It is. It has the confluence of technology up north with Silicon Valley, obviously the surfing, the outdoors, and in my opinion, is one of the best places for cannabis.
You're right on all those aspects, man. Silicon Valley really has changed Santa Cruz from this I'm really politely saying this. I'm not offending anyone here when I say a rotten beach town, right? Because if you live there, it's kind of falling apart. The termites are eating all the wood there.
It's got character.
It has character.
Yeah.
Silicon Valley's brought a lot of finances, resources, money into the area. It's changed it quite a bit in the past 20 years.
Yeah.
The surfing there is unprecedented.
It's good,
really.
Man. Yeah. And I think the locals do a really good job of
keeping everybody out.
Yeah, well, making it clear that, hey, this is Santa Cruz, and when you come here, you got to embrace the culture.
Keep it weird.
Yeah, keep it weird.
Keep it weird.
That's it, man.
Oh, yeah, totally. I learned how to surf up in Humboldt.
Nice.
Right? And, it's all 5 mil wetsuits up there.
All year round.
All year round. It actually feels warmer in the wintertime than it does the summer because it's 50 degrees outside and 56 degrees in the water. Right.
Like a warm bath.
Yeah, right. You're like, oh, I warmed up a little bit, right? And there's nobody up there. Right.
No.
You run into people, on the break and, everybody's passing joints and,
right.
Bottles of water or looking at the great whites or seals or whatever.
Right.
But you go down to Santa Cruz and it's a little bit different.
Just a little bit.
Right?
Yeah.
There's definitely more competitive.
Yes.
There's a lot more of the locals only attitude for sure.
Yeah, in some places. And, at some level, no one likes to be yelled at. But on some level, I respect the fact that this is their...
Get off my wave, you fucking grom!
Yeah. That's not, perhaps there could be a better way of communicating it.
Yeah,
but,
right.
But I respect the fact that this is their backyard and
absolutely
we're kind of in their backyard. So
no, absolutely. I lived on Pleasure Point for a while, and I would see the segregation.
Yeah, right.
Right. You get out on the point wave, right? And there's 5 dudes out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And then you come towards the beach break wave, I'll call it. There's 30 guys
yeah,
there.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yep. No, it hasn't changed, man. It hasn't changed.
Right. And it has a great weed history too. Santa Cruz.
I'm really just getting into it, but it goes way back. You have a collective Wham.
Yeah.
One of the first collectives in the country in '93, I think.
Women, what is it? Wham, Women of Medical Marijuana Women.
Yeah, it's Whoa Men's, so it's it encompasses everyone.
Right.
But Val and her team up there,
Valerie, right.
They do a great job there. They're on Jane, so
great.
Yeah, we're really happy to support them and partner with them.
Great. Yeah, I'd love to get her on here, man. She's had such a long history in the medical cannabis industry and When we first moved to California, we worked with them for a while, and just as like volunteers or something. She wouldn't remember me. But, she was one of the first women cannabis organizations.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, and like back then, not only being in cannabis, but also being a woman in the industry she's a pioneer, man. And
absolutely.
Yeah, she's really, it's great to learn from her. And you find people like that with that same kind of mentality in Santa Cruz, out in the cannabis industry and outside of it, but really kind of like, I want to create something. And so it's a fun place to be, certainly as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to need surf guitar for this episode. We're going to have to work on that.
Some one. Dick Dale or something like that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. And Santa Cruz is also the where the original Hayes was
the Hayes brothers,
right? The Hayes brothers, right, man. Right outside in the mountains there.
I'm sure we'll get to it, but for the first time, I'm growing my own plants for the first time.
All right, congratulations! Yeah. Awesome, dude.
And it's for many different reasons, really quite an amazing experience. But I realized in Santa Cruz, you can't really make too many mistakes. It's Mother Nature there takes care of itself.
Almost perfect, man.
It really is. It's get this really beautiful sun in the afternoon with that ocean breeze coming off the coast in the morning. It's perfect, man.
Right. Yeah. And the mountains behind it are even better because you don't get that coastal fog influence.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It stays a bit drier.
Yeah.
And you've got tons of grapes growing up in the mountains behind there, up to Bonnie Doon, all the way down to Carlitos.
Yeah,
it's really a great environment. Grapes and olives are often an indicator species for cannabis. They have similar maturation times, similar water requirements. I also feel there's a similar cultural heritage around grapes and olives and weed. Right.
You're talking. I'm Greek, so.
Oh, right.
I imagine the Mediterranean at one point was.
Oh yeah, totally.
Filled with
totally
orchards and.
Well, I mean, Morocco is one of the most well-known historic hash producing places in the world.
Yeah.
Right. And they're on the Mediterranean there.
Yeah.
Right. And Italy is one of the most hash consuming countries.
I did not know that.
In Europe. Yeah, totally. Lots of hash smoked over there.
Cool.
Right. But Lebanon, they were known for hash production and hash transportation, smuggling for a number of years.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just that coastal influx to keep the temperature down a little bit, but you get the coastal mountains right behind the maritime environment, and it's drier with a little bit more elevation.
Yeah,
and
man.
It is perfect.
Yeah.
It is perfect. Well, it seems like, hey, that's been a great podcast. We'll just end it right there.
Brought to you by visitsantacruz.com. Yeah.
Hey, man, let's talk about I Heart Jane. This is something that's really interesting to me. Everybody knows some of the other online marketplaces for cannabis, and they're mostly just advertising platforms. But I Heart Jane is different. I'm going to let you explain it.
Yeah, I Heart Jane's a bit different. And when the team and I were looking at building this, a couple of years ago, we were asking ourselves, how do we shop online for everything else other than cannabis? One of our teammates is looking for a bike helmet for his wife. Where does he go? He goes to Amazon, and he knows the specific bike helmet that he wants. And he doesn't go on Amazon and looks at a seller and then scrolls through that menu only to come across by chance exactly what he's looking for. He just simply types it in.
Right. And it comes up with 5 sellers have this item at.
Exactly. Right. And that's how we shop for our clothes. That's how we shop for our household goods, all online. Even our movies now, our music. It's now like, hey, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Bring it to me. And at the same time, we were looking at what was going on with Amazon. It's actually becoming quite relevant. Today we didn't really like the fact that Amazon was kind of killing small businesses. And it was kind of a perfect storm in the sense of the cannabis industry is built by small businesses, brick and mortar stores in the local community, trying to provide products to local customers looking for those products. And so we said, how can we create for the customer a shopping experience that mimics Amazon, where you can type in anything that you would want and that marketplace will bring it to you. But at the same time, instead of killing small businesses, we enable small businesses and support them and bring business to them. And so that's what we were able to do with I Heart Jane.
So the real interesting thing about the I Heart Jane to me, as opposed to Leafly or Weed Maps, which are great resources, but it's real-time inventory.
That's exactly right. And so in order to partner with these dispensaries, we had to make it pretty simple for them because I've never run a brick and mortar dispensary, but I've worked in retail before, and it's tough.
Yeah.
You got scheduling, you got hiring, you got firing, you got inventory, you have marketing. And the last thing you really want to think of is your e-commerce. And now you have to maintain and run a website.
Right.
And so what we were thinking about as we were creating Jane was how could we do it very easily so these brick and mortar stores can have something that's extremely powerful to help them reach customers, but have very little work to them. So what we do is, like you were saying, we integrate in real time to these point of sale systems, any point of sale system in the cannabis industry today. And by doing so, we create a turnkey digital storefront that connects the products on their store shelves with customers in real time looking for those products in the local area.
Let's run through a sample.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I'm average, Joe Stoner. I work 80 hours a week.
Oh yeah,
and it's time for me to smoke weed. So I decided it's 9:30 in the morning. I look up at I upload iHeartJane. Is that how it works?
Yeah, you visit iHeartJane.com.
I visit iHeartJane.com and I type in
whatever
I want. I want outdoor organic white widow.
Boom.
And see who has it.
Bingo. In your area.
In my area.
In real time.
In real time.
And then you're presented those stores that are carrying it. And then go ahead.
And then I can either order it right then and have it packaged and ready for me, just like to-go food.
Bingo.
Or the pharmacy. Hi, yes, order for Baker.
Yeah.
Right?
That's it. Yeah.
Right? And then I don't have to stand in line, or I don't have to wait, or I don't have to choose, or I don't have to, they just already have it ready for me.
Exactly. And you guarantee that product is there for you.
Or I can just show up and say, hey, I looked on iHeartJane today, and it said you guys had organic outdoor white widow, and, where is it? Let me see it.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
And what we love to do and how we explain it to our dispensary partners is like the hard part is getting the customer to know that you have that product. We talk to a lot of brand owners too who have great brands, and the hardest part is getting their name out there. And so we do that for these dispensaries. We say, hey, if you're carrying White Widow organic outdoor, you don't need to advertise that. Just carry it, leave it in your point of sale system, and we'll make sure that the guy who's looking for it in your area is matched to it. Just like you said, you as the customer would go, you would reserve it for a time. You could pick it up after work. A lot. I can't tell you how many times we've heard from customers, I used to come right after work on a Friday night, and it would be a 45-minute line. I don't wait 45 minutes in line to get my sandwich, but I have to for this cannabis because it's the best thing in town. And
right, I want it.
Now they say, hey, I'm in and out. I can order from my pajamas and pick it up after work. And it is, it's a great thing. We're seeing almost like a Uber effect where you use it for the first time and you're never going to take a taxi cab again. Mm-hmm. You kind of order on Jane for the first time. You never really go anywhere else.
Now, I want to be specific. This isn't a mail order weed scenario.
No, that's a great point. We don't really, as they say in the industry, we don't touch the plant. We don't touch the product.
You're strictly ancillary.
We strictly, just like Open Table doesn't touch the food, but you can reserve us a table for two at the Italian restaurant, just like Grubhub doesn't touch the food, but you can order your burrito from the Mexican restaurant down the street. We don't touch the plant, but we enable and allow you to reserve those products for either in-store pickup or delivery, depending on what the dispensary is offering.
Oh, wow. Great model. Now, earlier we were talking and you mentioned that there were 3 models in this industry. Can you explain those?
Yeah. So we're the fourth. We're the kind of the end-to-end marketplace, this Amazon shopping experience, if you will. Then there are 3 other models that we've seen. We've seen kind of the Yelp model, and that is your listing service. And they provide a service just like Yelp provides a service. You go there, hey, where's this in reference to me? They have usually, menus of different product and service offerings. But the issue is that it's usually the menus are stale, and you can't order from there. And really, to be honest with you, just kind of like Yelp, I could be sitting here in Denver and review a dispensary in Seattle without ever having stepped foot in that store. And that's a problem because you're seeing a lot of competitors, play the 1-star rating game. You're seeing, and what that leaves is, when I'm a customer, I can't really just trust that what I'm reading is accurate.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's one model. The next model is kind of the on-demand delivery. You see it in the food industry a bunch. In New York, there's a company called Caviar that will deliver food to you. You have
and that's available in several states, California.
Correct.
And where else is it available?
I think Washington is trying to get involved in it, but mainly it's California.
California allows delivery direct to your doorstep.
Exactly.
Right.
Which is great, but the only issue is back to your reference, if you wanted White Widow, you can't really type in White Widow. You kind of are subject to say
whatever they got,
and you really don't know where it comes from, which is a problem. Like imagine ordering a pizza and the dude delivers it to you and you're like, hey, where'd this pizza come from? And the guy's like,
no, it's Totino's. We cooked it in the oven.
Yeah, whatever, man.
Right.
Yeah, this is .com pizza. Try it. And you're like, you know what? That's not really how people shop. I want choice. I want selection. So it really doesn't provide that. And then the third model in the industry that we're seeing, and these are all great models, we're just different, is the Shopify model. I don't know if you're familiar with.
Sure. Oh, yeah, totally.
And what they do, you're seeing these come up and they do a great job, but they'll go to a specific dispensary and they'll say, hey, we'll build you that e-commerce platform that you need. That's so tough. And that's fine. It's usually kind of labor intensive and a little expensive for the dispensaries. But as a customer, the issue is I have to know about that store beforehand, visit their domain name, and then order from them. And so again, think about the last time you went to a small business.com store and ordered something. You're usually going to Google and typing it in, or Amazon and typing it in. And that's what we saw. And we said, okay, let's be more of the Amazon style for the consumers. And that's the fourth model that we're introducing to the industry today.
Oh, wow, man. It's progressing so fast.
It is technology, man. It's wild.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's take a break for technology right there. This is Chip and Socrates of The Real Dirt. We'll be right back. These new episodes are made possible through some really awesome partnerships. We want to form long-term relationships with other entities who have similar goals. Thanks to Grower Soil, a line of soil and nutrients manufactured and developed right here in Colorado. Also, thanks to Cultivate Colorado, with 2 stores in the Denver metropolitan area. Cultivate has one of the largest selections of indoor horticultural equipment in the known universe. So stop by if you have any growing needs. Grow your dreams, cultivate your legend. We're back. This is Chip and Socrates, The Real Dirt. Today we're talking about I Heart Jane, which is the next generation online marketplace. It's a real-time inventory for cannabis purchasers. Hey, I just want to plug us here. If you want other episodes, download this at realdirt.com, or you can look us up on iTunes at The Real Dirt Podcast. You can subscribe to our newsletter and other fun stuff we put out. We got some other podcast and mini podcast and other additional information on the website if you or anyone else is interested. Realdirt.com. So, man, I'm going to roll it up while you tell me how you got started with all this. I know you got a bit of an interesting story here, so let's hear it, man.
Yeah, man. So I grew up in Newton, Mass, and I went to West Point and graduated West Point. I actually never consumed cannabis a day in my life until I got out of the military. But I graduated from West Point, and we'll get to that, but in 2004, obviously. And I was an Apache helicopter pilot for about 7 years.
All right.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Let me say that if someone ever tells you they're Apache helicopter pilot, they're pretty smart and highly coordinated.
Yeah.
Right?
You'd be surprised, man.
You'd be surprised.
If you've never gotten in a car with me, if you talk to my wife or my friends, they're like, dude, did you really fly helicopters?
Well, it's different. Sure? In a car, you have these rules.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. In the sky, man, you're free.
You're free. You're free. You only have to worry when you come close to the ground or another object, right?
With a plane, that is the case, but with the helicopter, it's actually the machine defies logic and defies the laws of gravity. So the entire time you're like, is this thing really going to keep me up in the air? And if something goes wrong, I don't have a lot of time to react. So it's really stressful.
I've heard people describe helicopters as an unnatural flying beast that's trying to come apart at every single moment.
Yes.
Right?
While simultaneously beating the air into submission, pretty much.
Right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it doesn't sound sexy when you talk about like an F-16 or a jet, and it sounds so graceful. But I was an Apache helicopter pilot. I commanded a company in Baghdad, Iraq in 2009, 2010. And then I got out of the military. I was 29 years old, back in Boston, really not knowing what I wanted to do next. I wasn't officially diagnosed with PTS, post-traumatic stress, but it's like any transition. Anybody who's graduated from college or changed jobs or moved halfway around the world.
Right.
It's a transition. And now imagine this transition from a highly kinetic, intense lifestyle where you have to kind of be full volume all the time. And so it was hard for me to turn the volume down. I was, a hard charging 29-year-old dipping tobacco and drinking beer. And yeah, you're from Georgia. You know that.
Right.
Yeah. Copenhagen, man.
Yeah, you got a Copenhagen pocket.
Oh, yeah. It's just unhealthy.
Do you call them koozies or cozies?
We call them koozies.
Oh, right. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
East Coast. The West Coast is
cozies.
Cozies.
Cool.
Koozies for sure.
Yeah. And my wife, my very patient, loving, natural, she's a healer. She said, "Hey, you know what? Maybe you want to try." She's from Vancouver, by the way, so she grew up with cannabis.
All right. Maybe you want to try a little weed, bro.
Yeah. How about you just kind of calm down a little bit and calm down? Really, is what it was. And so I consumed cannabis for the first time in my life, man. It changed my life.
And you smoked a bowl, a joint?
I smoked I actually smoked
a 4-inch blunt.
I smoked I smoked a lot of blunts that night. Yeah.
They had to teach you how to use it.
Yeah, they taught me the process, and I got high. And it wasn't like anything I thought it was going to be.
Right.
It really brought me a sense of balance and well-being that I really couldn't find anywhere else.
So you grew up in the drug work culture, and so you had these misconceptions.
Oh, I had the
about
Dare
cannabis,
T-shirt,
right?
and I was.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, of course.
Me too.
And so I tried to change my life, and then I, at the same time, was going to business school at MIT and learning about technology kind of during the daytime, and at night, here I was kind of learning firsthand about how to consume and what that meant. And everybody's has a personal journey with cannabis, and mine was kind of just beginning. And the only issue was I was a business school student, and I was getting my cannabis that was really helping me, except I was getting it in like a Best Buy parking lot from a high school connect.
Right.
You know?
He was in high school?
Yeah, no.
He was from high school.
Yeah.
Right. He's like, damn, Sock, you used to beat me up when we were in high school. Now you're selling me.
Yeah, right. No. I was a tiny kid, probably getting beat up in high school. But that was a problem for me because I would ask, and I was desperately trying to understand, hey, how could I replicate this in a more consistent fashion? And I graduated from MIT. I was really interested in technology, came out to Silicon Valley, do some consulting work, and I was able to really study the marketplaces and really exciting technology like Uber and Airbnb and Grubhub and these really cool models. And that's what really spawned the idea for Jane. And that's where we are now.
So when did the idea pop in your head? Was there a light bulb moment?
I actually do remember, so here I was working that corporate grind, working those 80-hour weeks, and I had very limited time on the weekend. I want to get down to Santa Cruz. I was living in Silicon Valley at the time. I want to get my bud. I want to enjoy my weekend. But so I'd always call my delivery guy, but my delivery guy was always late.
Waiting on my man.
Never had what I saw on their website. And it was like every time. And meanwhile, I was calling my food delivery guy, no problem. My Uber guy, no problem. I was watching Netflix videos, my documentaries, they were coming easy. And here was the most inconvenient thing for the most important product of my life. And that's really the idea came about and said, you know what, we got to do something about it.
Wow, I love when businesses come out of an actual need in the marketplace.
It's the only way it can be authentic.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's plenty of other businesses that work in other manners, but when it's market driven right? Like you don't need any market research.
Right.
Right. You don't need a focus group.
Right.
It's like, okay, I want weed when I want it and I want it to be what I want. Right?
That's actually a great point. That's a great point. I think a lot of people, you see it in big corporations. Well, we need a focus group for this and we need to test this, A/B run that. And you're like, hey, man, I just go and shop and I see, man, I would love if this was different. And so far we've been pretty spot on it.
Right. Some people have it.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, some people have it for everything. I have it for my industry and the things that I'm interested in.
Right.
I don't have it for everything.
Right.
I can, you know, in the equipment, hydroponic or horticultural equipment industry, I can see immediately if somebody comes into my door with a new product, whether it's going to work or not.
Yep.
I can see if it came from a need from the marketplace, a need from the user, or just somebody stoned. Man, I think I was gonna make $1 million off this shit, dude. Right? You know, because that's one of the drawbacks of cannabis. Right? Is you get high and you think everything's a great idea. Right?
Yeah.
Some people come down later and they were, oh, maybe that's not such a great idea. You know, a chia pet bong. I don't know. Now I don't know. Last night it seemed great.
Yeah.
Like, you know, well, we put weed seeds in it instead. Oh, hemp seeds. We'll put hemp seeds in it. So now it's a hemp pet bong. Right. That's how the weed ideas start.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
One of the most odd guys I've ever known, he had this saying of like, you got to brainstorm, you got to take it all the way one direction, the craziest thing you can, and then all the way the other direction, the most conservative thing you can.
Yeah.
And then you can bring them together and they'll meet someplace.
Oh, cool.
It might not be the middle, you know, it might be a little crazier, a little more conservative,
cool.
But you got to like go all the way, right? And then bring it back.
What's like, that's the fun in it, right?
It is, right.
When you're working for the man and you got to do step 1 to step 2 to step 3, that's, in my opinion, that's really boring. And take it from me, I was in the Army, so they told me how to do every single thing.
Right.
But now you can kind of run with ideas and experiment, and I see all the unbelievable products that are being innovated in this space, the innovation that's going on in the cultivation space, and it's that's where the fun's at, man.
Yeah. Right. I really love talking to other business people and entrepreneurs. I've started numerous businesses. I call myself a serial and a parallel entrepreneurist.
Nice.
Right?
Nice.
And you know, I start businesses on top of each other. I start businesses back to back, and
awesome, man.
You know, some are successful now more so.
Yeah.
In the early years, you know, they might not have. You know, I was climbing that ladder of success built on some failure and problems, right?
Always.
Right. Do you get to talk to other cannabis entrepreneurs and then other entrepreneurs?
Oh, man. There is, to be an entrepreneur in this space is I think, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. How many times do you get to kind of be, everybody says, come out of the dark and into the light. Mm-hmm. And this is a very old industry that has a lot of roots, and there are a lot of unbelievable pioneers that have done great things. But now people are just starting to openly and publicly discuss it. So you're talking to little mom and pop. Well, there's a product owner in Santa Cruz that's doing infused jam, and she's a really high-end chef, and she's bringing this really cool products to the space. And you're seeing stuff with dispensaries and retail operations trying to innovate and create a better shopping experience for their customers. And that's so much fun to always interact with and see and be around all these other people trying to move this industry forward and trying to innovate on top of each other, which is a lot of fun.
You go to any of the Cannabis trade shows or MJ Biz or any of that type of stuff?
We have, yeah. We've been to a few. Now we're kind of past that point. You know, we've kind of jumped in the deep end now, and we're in it. But at the beginning, yeah, they were great resources, even for the fact that of the energy there and the excitement there and all the walks of life, mm-hmm. People interested in this space. But it really just, for me, it hammered home that, you know, you got to just do it. And
yeah, go for it.
You got to go for it.
Go for it.
Yeah.
I see myself differently than other people see me.
We all do.
Like, you know, they see me as a successful entrepreneur, a successful business person. You know, they see all the like products that have survived or that are great for me. They don't even know about all the ones that failed.
Yeah. Right.
So they ask me questions all the time, like, how do I get started? And you know, the often it's about money with people. Right.
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
you know, I tell people all the time, like, don't worry about the money. Just like, don't let that keep you from doing it. That's just an excuse. You know, have a good plan and a good dream, but like, don't wait for the money, or else you'll always be waiting.
Yeah, that's a great point. And you know, we were talking earlier before the show is about, you know, money for a business is like blood for the human body. It is a necessity to keep the mechanism running, but it is not your purpose to be on this earth. And anybody who creates a company for the sole intention or the primary intention of making money, in my opinion, is pretty short-sighted. And the ones who really see the need or have a love to solve something and really can empathize with a customer, that, in my opinion, that's authentic, and it will resonate with the customers, and it will be here for quite some time.
Since we're talking about it, let's talk about some of the problems you've had to overcome starting this business.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a great transition.
I'm gonna fire it up. Hey, we got a lighter around here? Oh yeah, it's kind of a running joke. we actually have one today. Here we go. All right. And what we don't have is an ashtray. It's a rock and roll studio. We'll just ash on the floor.
No, it's a nice place, man.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
But yeah, I think problems that we've run into, not necessarily maybe problems, but challenges in the sense of, you know, to be viewed as a corporation. And Steve D'Angelo is quoted a lot on it of, you know,
Steve D'Angelo of Harborside
is quoted on corporations not coming into the cannabis industry and telling the cannabis industry how to do business, but now the cannabis industry welcoming corporations and showing them, hey, we can do business in an improved way, our way, one that's rooted in fairness and, in my opinion, you know, authenticity and love for the plant. And I'm just going to go hold on to this.
Yeah, just hold on to that for a second, man. That's a lemon G13 from Earl's up in Leadville. They're the really highest commercial grow in the country, 10,500 feet. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, all organic, greenhouse grown.
Elevated. This is great, man.
Elevated, right? Yeah. I know you get all those great puns. Elevated, high.
But I think this is a great point, is the sense of, you know, we come in, we're tech guys. We're not growers. We see our role not to come in here and exploit the industry, but to really use our skills to help raise everybody up and move this industry forward and ensure everybody's kind of winning and succeeding. Because when we all do that and we have accountability and transparency and there is fairness in the market, we will win, man. And we will have an opportunity to teach other industries, hey, this is working for us. If you think about it, back to our earlier point, Amazon is killing small businesses. Who started a small business in Ohio or Georgia, right? The cannabis industry is protected in a weird way from having these big Amazons of the world come in and kind of push everybody over.
Totally.
We have an opportunity, and a limited opportunity, in my opinion. The time is ticking, clock is ticking, to show, hey, we can all work together, we can all win, we can all grow the pie, and we can do some really cool stuff along the way. And if we're part of that conversation as a company, that's really exciting for us.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people bring up this term corporation or corporate as a disparaging term.
Yeah.
Right? And, you know, it's just the fact of the matter. When you're a certain level business, like you have to get liability insurance. And as soon as you start getting liability insurance, then you need to be like a corporation of some you know, you need to be incorporated. Right. So many of us are corporate companies, but the average Joe might not realize that, and they just talk corporate cannabis. Corporate cannabis. What do you think they mean when they say that?
I think that's a really interesting point. I think it's less about the term and more about the meaning behind it. And I think it's, like we talked about, are you in it here to exploit and make money, a quick buck? Or are you in it here to use your whatever expertise it is, whether from making awesome tasting jam to growing fire at 10,000 feet or building an online marketplace and using technology? And are you doing it to solve a problem and help move this industry forward? And I think, you know, what side are you on? And we love to partner with the ones looking to all work together. And that's really what we pride about ourselves on Jane, is that any dispensary can use any point of sale system. All the other models, the Yelp, the Shopifys of the world, they can use those too. And you can also use Jane. And I think that's a really cool situation where we don't create this it's us or them mentality. And I hope that sticks around.
Well, Roger Waters was just on a tour around the country, and it's us and them.
Yeah.
Right?
I love it.
Not us against them.
I love it.
And it's based off a Pink Floyd song, Us and Them, but it's true. It's we're all together here.
Yeah, man.
Right? And we might can compete for the same marketplace, but just like the little kids on the ball field, like another team member gets hurt, you pick them up at the end of the game, you shake hands, you see the people out in public, and it's a polite interaction.
Yeah.
Right? We need to bring that into it for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think there's so much room for so many people to come in and do some cool stuff. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be this. We're not 40 years down the road. I drive to, I was driving to Tahoe this weekend, and you get out past the city and you're kind of in no man's territory, and there's like a McDonald's, a Walmart, a Burger King, a 7-Eleven, and you can be in any single town. Mm-hmm. Could you imagine that if that was cannabis? It's not, right? Like we have cool, it's all local. It's, hey, this is this grower from here. He's doing this cool thing. Or this dispensary only sources local products and they know me by name. I bring my dog in there. That's a really cool thing. And I hope we don't lose that.
There is definitely more chains in Colorado.
Yeah.
Right.
Popping up.
You definitely see that. There was a recent article, Denver Post. Man, I want to say something like 10% of the dispensaries are owned by like 6 people.
Oh, really?
Right. Yeah,
interesting.
Totally. And Native Roots, Live Well, those are 2 of the biggest ones.
Yep, they're big
them all over. And
yep.
They've bought up little mom and pops that started and couldn't figure out how to work.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And lots of mountain town type, places.
Right.
Right. I'm sure that's going to happen in California once people are able to get actual licenses from the local and state governments.
Yep.
And it'll be something that you can go and buy soon.
Exactly.
Right. It's currently not quite like that. Right.
Yeah, we're in a really interesting time, I think, in the industry where consolidation, you're just starting to see it here in Colorado, like you were saying. And I think, that's for us at Jane, that's a problem we're trying to solve. We're trying to say we love the mom and pops that are doing great things, and maybe they don't have the reach and they don't know online technology and they don't know how to, do real-time inventory. Hey, that's where we come in and we can do so very easily and support the largest chains in the world to the smallest mom and pops, and we create a level playing field where their products are being sold to the customers looking for those products.
Oh, that's right. Natural expansion. Hey, let's take a break right there. This is Chip Baker and Socrates, The Real Dirt. We'll be right back. I got to get incredible thanks out to Denver NORML. They're an organization that advocates for the rights of every marijuana consumer in the Mile High City, while also creating long-lasting partnerships with local businesses that share our value. Thanks, Denver NORML. It takes people like you to really make the change. And we're back. Once again, this is The Real Dirt. A little slower this time, man. Socrates, even though you're a new cannabis smoker, your joint rolling skills are unprecedented.
I've had a lot of practice, man. A lot of practice.
That's what it takes. Focus,
practice, determination, man.
Right. Do you have a story about the first joint you rolled?
Actually, we'll go back to that. The first blunt I rolled and smoked myself.
Okay.
We were talking about this before the show in terms of, you got a racing mind. I think a lot of entrepreneurs have it. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people with, who've experienced some stressful moments in their life have racing minds that keep them up and worried about X, Y, and Z.
Right. Because you get so stuck at that point of adrenaline and time and space that your mind relaxes and you go almost right back to it.
Imagine like you kind of broke the throttle and it's just at 101 RPM at all times.
And you think that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, okay, this is normal. And I remember...
It's not normal.
No, it is not. And I remember realizing that when... this might be a boring story, but for me, it was a really vivid memory after consuming and getting high for the first time. I remember just like sucking on a purple Jolly Rancher, listening to the Allman Brothers. Blue Skies was on. And
Blue Skies.
Yeah, that's it, man. And I remember being so present as if I was a child again. And I think that was kind of like cannabis revealing to me, hey man, this is this is the present moment. All the other noise, that you can turn that off. And that was when the light really switched for me.
Yeah, right. Oh, this is pretty good.
Oh, there is a off switch.
Mm-hmm.
There is an off switch, and then you start learning. Oh, I can turn this off anytime I want. Yeah. Well, yeah. Some people, use cannabis for it.
Right.
I think the ultimate goal is to do it with or without.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm learning that right now for sure. And, I definitely have the problem of staying focused or being in the moment. For sure.
We all do.
I'm really learning it though. I've been so much better lately about it.
Nice, man.
Yeah, you have to be able to just flip it. You have to just be able to like focus and turn the focus on.
Yep.
And I know you learned this as a helicopter pilot. Like before you take off, you're doing your walk around, your prep, you become so hyper focused.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you don't think about other stuff.
Yeah.
Right. At least, I don't. You don't think about other stuff. And,
you're right.
And then you get up in the air and it's the same thing. It's just hyper focused moments.
Yeah.
Right. And I know pilots with like thousands and thousands and thousands of hours and they're carrying on conversations and it's second nature to them. And, I kind of feel bad for them that they lost that super focus.
That's really interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
But, I guess it becomes second nature just like anything else.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's the appeal of doing things just challenging enough to keep you present, not maybe overwhelming. I love to surf. So for me, that's...
Oh, yeah, totally.
And I imagine here in Colorado, when you're skiing, like you're not thinking about...
That moment when you decide you're going for that wave, and I use surfing as business analogies all the time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that moment you're going to catch that wave, you just decide and you just start to paddle.
And you go.
And there's a focus and there's a paddle that doesn't, and you might like false paddle. Right. Like, oh, I'm going to get that one. No, I didn't get that. I didn't feel it. Right.
And then what happens, right? You're out of position. And that's what that's our saying in the company is you won't know unless you go.
Yeah, you won't know unless you go. Absolutely.
And it's just go, man.
Drop in, bro.
Yeah,
this is yours. Take it.
We're definitely getting some surfer tunes on this show.
Oh man, I miss it, dude. I really do.
Come on out. Anytime, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm probably more just like wobble back and forth on the top of my board and paddle.
Yeah, we all do that. It's like golf, man. People say like, oh, this, but really everybody's kind of crappy at it, but just good enough to enjoy it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's you're right. And some of my best days surfing has literally just been paddling out into the fog and getting past the breakers and past the lineup and just sitting on the outside just watching the world.
That's it, man.
Just watching
no
the waves.
Phone, no email.
Right.
That's good.
The sound of the birds and the Northern California got all the wildlife, man.
Everything.
The
more than you would want.
Seals and
sharks
and
whales,
fish, and
it's crazy, man.
All of it.
Bears.
All of it.
It's nuts.
Hey, what's that on the beach?
Yeah.
Right. Wookiee. There's a Wookiee coming after me. Tell me about some of your problems. It's not all just like fun and games starting businesses, is it?
No. To create something is tough, man. It is the hardest thing to do because there's no roadmap. There is no blueprint. There's no checklist. There's no kind of like, step one, step two. It's kind of like, what do we do now? And the fun of it is no one's written that for you. But also the scary part is you got to kind of write your own book. Right. And it's just really what we say is we move inches every day and you just keep going and you don't look back. And before you know it, those inches add up and you look back and you're like, wow, we've gone a while, but you can only move, 1 inch at a time. And
right. That's great advice, man. That really is. I have that problem all the time. I'm building some new stuff right now. I got some new products coming out and it's been working on this manufacturing plant for a while. And it's starting to like, is this ever going to happen? And at the end, of any construction project, like there's delays and there's, stuff takes way longer.
More expensive.
More expensive, all of that. You know, but to look back of it all, it's like, oh, wow, man, I've done all that in 14 months. That's actually pretty good. That's really good advice.
Yeah.
Not to get just so caught up as like, I've only moved 1 inch today.
I mean, think about you're a cultivator, right? A lot of listeners are cultivators. You don't just put a seed in the ground. The next day, the thing grows.
Yeah,
And now you're harvesting. It is so small, but never ending. And that's kind of our mentality is, we're going to move. If sometimes it's an inch, but we're going to make sure that we keep moving forward. And that's what we learned. That's at least what was taught to me in the military. And that's what we bring every day to the team at Shane.
Right. Yeah. So, man, I was going to ask you what your success story is, but it almost seems like you just kind of gave it all to me. It's just like move 1 inch a day, But
yeah,
tell me about some of the successes you've had.
Yeah. I think for me, I've led a lot of teams in my life, but this is really a really fun time because we're starting from a handful of guys. And for me, it's watching my little seed of an idea. Sorry for the pun.
No.
Yeah, right.
Weed puns are loud.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Kind of, one guy say, hey, I like that seed. Let me water it a little bit. And then another guy come in and say, let me give some sunlight to it. And some guys like, hey, let me trim this. I'm a good trimmer. Let me do this. And before you know it, you have a lot of brilliant, passionate people kind of sharing the same dream. And man, that's really exciting. You see it with great sports teams. You see it with great music groups and like the Beatles and Pink Floyd, right? They're all kind of shared the same vision. And I know that's what's happening at Jane, and it's really exciting. And I try to just really appreciate that. Man, I don't know when the next time I'm going to get something like this. So we're really just grateful for it every day.
No, that's an awesome, awesome feeling.
Yeah, it is.
That's what keeps me in entrepreneurship is that feeling, honestly.
Yeah.
Of like that when you're newly creating something.
Yeah.
And it's just started to work.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. And you're on the street one day and someone's like, oh, hey, aren't you Chip with the Real Dirt?
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, oh, God damn, it is working, man.
Yeah, man.
That's great.
And from nothing, Chip.
Yeah.
For literally like an idea that you had. And then now you got a studio with people coming to you on a podcast with listeners, producer, just from an idea.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think everybody listening, if you got that idea that you just can't stop thinking about.
Try it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fail at it. Try it again.
You won't know unless you go, man.
Yeah. I don't know how many times I like had a great idea and was scared to start it up. And started up something more conservative, and then I saw other people take my quote unquote the idea that I had and ran with it. Right. And there's this collective unconsciousness that I believe in. Is like I start thinking about something, and someplace on the other side of the world, someone else picks it up too.
No doubt.
Right. And so like you can call it your idea, but they're kind of our ideas.
I love it.
Right. And I see stuff all the time. I was like, oh man, I had that idea. Oh, that they were successful at doing that. And, I tried that and failed. Wow, they succeeded because they did this. And, I'm really like fascinated with all of that in entrepreneurship. Yeah. And
I think it's something that you got to go through to realize. I read all these books. I read the book about the Nike founder, Jeff Bezos and Amazon, and
sure.
Richard Branson building Virgin. I tell you what, man. It all starts with a man or a woman with an idea and just moving inches and not stopping and learning, right? Making mistakes and learning and adapting and growing. Right. It's simple. It's not easy, but it's simple, man.
Yeah, I gotta say this, man, is that no man is an island, and even though I might have come up with an idea, or you might have come up with an idea, until we get other people involved, it doesn't really start to exist.
Yeah, man.
Right. And you get other people like excited about it for you or excited about it with you, involved in the project. And it's like, it's the group of people. It's the people that you work with, that work for you, that really make it successful.
Yep.
Right. Now, I can't say enough about, the employees that got me where I am today, the business partners that got me where I am today. Right. Regardless of like we had falling outs or they got fired or there were fist fights involved or whatever the fuck it was. Right. Like each one of those
they're
incidents,
part of the journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's important not to be scared of that.
I think that's what it is. Having no fear. And really, there's no other industry where that is more important. Is like, I think the people in this industry, most of them know how special this plant is. and the power it has. And in my opinion, it's like there are a lot of things to be afraid about in this industry, and we got to make sure that if we're dedicated to this thing, we see this all the way through, and we don't give up. Really,
yeah, totally.
We're not scared about it.
Yeah. Sometimes you fail and you just get pushed out. And,
sure,
pop like a zit on the other side of the business world.
Yeah, of course.
It happens. Stop and start over, right?
Yeah, of course.
But, just keep going.
Yeah,
and that's how it goes.
Yeah.
So, man, when you're having those moments when it is so hard or when it is so delightful, well, what's your favorite weed?
I love it all, man. I love it all. My favorite right now.
Oh, I love how you phrase that.
Yeah, right now is a kosher kush grown by these group of growers. They're military veterans called the Santa Cruz Veterans Alliance.
Yeah, totally.
And what they do is they're a group of veterans out of the service who cultivate as part of their therapy. And in the process now, they've actually learned to produce some of the finest cannabis, in my opinion, in Santa Cruz, if not California. And that's kind of been a favorite of mine all summer long. So SCVA Kosher Kush.
Kosher Kush from DNA, Don and Aaron. Yeah, I love that. Love that weed, man.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's a good one. How about you?
Man, I don't, it's hard. I have favorites from time to time, right? Stuff infatuates me, but my all-time favorite weed that cannot be beat in my eyes is real East Coast sour diesel.
Please.
The East Coast sour diesel cut is my favorite. Whenever I get it, I hoard it.
You're a sativa man.
I love it, man.
Yeah, man.
Recently, we just got some old school Trainwreck hybrids.
Nice.
Right. And also, strong petroleum flavor. Up heart racing high.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Before surf, man. Oh, it's my favorite.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. I do tend to like the more up weeds, which is interesting because I probably need the more sedating ones from my personality.
Because you have a racy mind like myself, but I like the more sativa energy strains.
Right.
So it's interesting.
But I'm open to it all. If somebody's got some great weed, I'm open to it all.
Me too, man.
Right. I really am looking for great weed though, of quality, right? It has to have like a complete terpene profile.
Yeah.
Has to just have this, rainbow full of flavors smell to it.
Yeah.
It can't just have this dead smell or a bread smell or a one smell, right?
Yep.
Has to smell like a bouquet of flowers to me.
I love it, man.
It's got to be like the perfect dryness. Here in Colorado, it's often too dry.
Yes.
Right. But like sometimes you'll find it that's just perfect, that perfect age too, between 1 and probably 2 or 3 months after you harvest it. Right.
Yep.
And then like I see so much weed and I've been around it so much, I can smell and see the ones that are just that little bit 1% better.
That's awesome, man.
Right.
I gotta start hanging out with you more.
And that 1% is really what makes it.
That's it. That's when you a guy or a woman that knows about wine, and they're like, hold on. Let me go get a bottle from the back.
Yeah, this is 91%.
And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's the difference. This is why this is, $100 bottle of wine.
Yeah, absolutely. And that really is my favorite weed when it is that top quality
East Coast sour diesel.
Taken care of, grown properly. Like it doesn't matter what strain it really is for that. And I recognize it. I'm man, that's great weed.
Yeah.
Because sour diesel is my favorite strain, but cannabis isn't like, Nike's right now.
No,
right. Yeah. I can't just go to any place and get sour diesel. I got to wait for the guy who I knows that grows it the best and get that 91%
that's
best.
It. And,
right.
Yeah. And that's what we're working towards at iHeart Jane is you want to know if this shop carries and grows the fire East Coast sour diesel, to be able to find it there and to hear other customers who have actually shopped and found and consumed that, you want to hear it from them. That's how we all do it. It's word of mouth. And so we want a validated, kind of verified, aggregated source for that word of mouth so we can learn from other customers.
Yeah, man. Back to the market surveys. Ask your customers what they want.
Yeah, that's it.
So, man, how do you see this all? This is all just started for California. It's all just started for really the U.S. Where do you see all this going for either you or the industry? Like what's the future?
I think we're in a very interesting opportunity where we're just trying to do the basic stuff here in the industry, but we have the opportunity to look at other industries and see where it's going. And in my opinion, a lot of it is going online. And a lot of people, the younger generation are not only shopping from their phones and tablets and computers, they want convenience, they want selection, they want to find exactly what they want in real time. But they also want, I think they're less driven by kind of bottom line and more driven about the story behind products too. And I think the cannabis industry is going to do a great job of that, putting a story behind brands, putting a story behind retail shops.
Story sells.
Yeah, the story sells, and what a really industry rich in story. And I think that's where it's going to go. I think it's going to go largely online, and then the brands that establishes those stories and can create a connection with the customer, they're going to do well here too.
How do you think the brands are going to pan out?
I'm excited for it because I really think it'll be local, because it has to be. It's not like I can ship my local infused, blackberry jam to Massachusetts from California.
You mean local by state?
Yeah, local by state. Exactly.
Absolutely.
And that's a really interesting thing, is that I think you'll have a lot of more smaller mom and pop brands have a local presence, and then you'll have more national brands be able to establish themselves. And maybe it'll mimic maybe the microbrew industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Dispensary brands setting up.
Yep.
Within their dispensary brand, they often, because weed growers want their own strain. That's one of the things like that weed growers are interested in is I grow the best weed and it's my strain.
Right.
And they've been doing that for years and years and years. And
right.
It's become harder and more competitive to do that now. So like I see that is that's going to develop. It's already developing, where there's like the brand and they might carry like 70 different clones or whatever, but then they have their thing they've developed or their thing they grow the best.
Yeah.
Right. In California, I'm wondering if they take a different approach and it be like, because it's so clone oriented over there.
Yes.
Of just a handful of clones too. Here it's literally like 70, but there, it's like 6 or 10.
Yep.
Right. Throughout the West Coast, it's kind of like that.
Yep.
It started to be like farm oriented because the way they've set up the distribution database in California. So like, it's not this way yet, but in the future, distributors will control the purchasing and the sale of the product.
Correct.
Right. So farmers won't be able to go direct to the dispensary is the way the new laws are set up. They have to go to a distributor. Right. And, by saying, hey, this came from, one of my favorite Pinots is called Lulu. This is from Lulu, Lulu Farms Pinot.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
That's what sets it apart. And it's all the same clone Pinot, whatever they're growing up there in Anderson Valley.
Right.
Right. But those guys grow really good.
It's theirs.
It's theirs.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. I think especially in California, just with that wine culture there too, that's what they expect. I think you'll see that. I think one other really exciting thing in this industry is that you'll see a lot of, I think women are going to have a huge voice in this industry.
Oh, they already have. They're the leaders of the industry currently,
and
really.
That's a really cool thing, at least for me to see, because I see some of my favorite brands are woman run. Some of my favorite dispensaries are woman run. And I think
you are in the heart of it though.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
In the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
or
that's
Central
true.
California is what we want to call it.
But what a cool, again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, it's like, hey, we're going to show the rest of the world, the other industries out there, women can be successful, have a voice in this, and actually lead this industry, which is really exciting for us.
Yeah, I see it here too. I see that women are often the head of the political organizations, the lobbying groups.
Yeah.
They're the movers and the shakers of the industry.
Yeah.
There are women business owners, but it's almost exclusively male growers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I would say like 2% female.
Yeah. It's like that in tech too.
Yeah. I've got one coming this afternoon, actually.
Cool.
Heather from Earl's up in Leadville that we were smoking.
Oh, right on.
That, right?
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're out there. I've interviewed others, and
sweet.
But that's no one's brought that up. I'm glad we got to chat about that one.
Yeah, I think women. I think underrepresented minorities. I think veterans. This is an opportunity for people to. You can't break into other industries. It's already saturated.
Right, like you can this one, right?
But this is a real cool place to if you have a good idea and you're savvy and you create a good business model, you could do very well.
Absolutely. And that's one of the exciting things about cannabis right now is you don't have to have a degree, you don't have to have a pedigree, you don't have to really have that much money, you know, or you can have all those things and enter the industry and be on the same playing field as other people.
Yeah, exactly right.
Right. And it's the door is open. You might have to kick it open. Right. But it's there.
Just like any good entrepreneur, man.
Yeah. You might have, like some stuff you're like, the small guys held out of, like fast food franchises. Small guys held out of that, right? Even like in the indoor horticultural industry, man, it's hard for a small guy to get involved now.
Sure.
Right, because orders are initial orders to start up a stores are hundreds of thousands of dollars, and minimums are so big, and like I started on $90,000. Right, and many other stores I know started on less. Right, the biggest store in the country that I know of, North Coast Horticulture, Steve Geeter's store up in Northern California. Him and his buddy started on like $15,000. Man, right, in '99.
That's great. You talk about running lean, right?
Right, yeah, exactly. But back then you could, and you can right now in the cannabis industry as well, right? And it's not going to remain that. It's not going to stay that way.
And it goes back to what's the problem that you're really passionate about solving, and what are you good at? Like if you're a great chef, there's awesome little edibles coming out of this. If you're a great grower or a consultant, or you love compliance, or a tech guy, or retail, man, there's really opportunity for you.
Yeah, awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
Well, hey, man, this has been a great episode.
It's been a blast.
I really appreciate you coming here and coming all the way from Santa Cruz to Denver.
Yeah, man, my pleasure.
We'd love to have you back sometime. I'm really interested in how it's going to go for you in the future.
Yeah, we are too. We're very excited, and we love what you guys are doing. And anytime we can get back to Denver and talk to listeners around the world, it's a pleasure, man.
All right. Well, you're always welcome.
Thanks, man.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for joining us on this episode of The Real Dirt. If you'd like to download this episode of others, go to therealdirt.com or iTunes, The Real Dirt Podcast. Thanks again. Stay high. The Real Dirt with Chip Baker. Thank you for joining us today on The Real Dirt. Well, it was a great conversation with Socrates. They just called us up a couple weeks ago and wanted to be on the show. I chatted with him on the phone. He seemed like a really cool dude and flew all the way here from Santa Cruz. I thought he was going to join us on the phone. So I really appreciate him coming over here. I hope you guys got motivated, man. I got pumped on chatting with him on entrepreneurship, on slow progression in business, and, just his story and the success of it all. So if you're interested in this episode or future episodes, download it on iTunes, The Real Dirt Podcast, or therealdirt.com. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Cultivate Colorado and Growers, Soil and Nutrients. Thanks again.